So good morning everyone. My name is Arslan and you are watching Proper Tech Tutorial. So welcome back to the series of learning siemensnx from beginner to pro. And today we'll be starting part 16. I'll just show you the screen. I'll show you the syllabus. So today we'll be starting part 16, that is how to do pattern curves. So pattern curves are of two types, linear and circular. So without any further delay, let's start. So first of all, we'll create a file, we'll name it, we'll select a sketch plane. I want it to be this one. I will select it. After that, I will click on OK. After that, I will create something like I want to create a rectangle and I want to create a square actually. So I will make these two equal and then I will give it a dimension. So let us say that the dimension is 50. Okay. After that, you can see that the dimension has been changed to 50. So now coming to the patterning of curves. The sketch is fully defined. So either you can search for pattern curve from the command section or the search bar, or you can make the search, you can add the pattern curve button in your ribbon. Okay. So I have added it. I will click on pattern. After that, you have to select the curve. You get four options: single curve, connected curve. If I select single curve, it will select one curve at a time. If I select the tangent curve, I will select the curve and the tangent, for example, an arc or circle. If there is if a curve in group, it will allow me to select the curve that are in together in group. So as of now, there are no groups, so I will not be able to select any curves. So connected curve will allow me to select the whole quadrilateral in one click. Now I will select the linear object. So the linear object that is to be selected must be something apart from the curve that has been selected to be offsetted or to be patterned. So I will select this x-axis, and after that there are three options available. So count and pitch, count and span, and pitch and span. So first what I will do, I will just create three rectangles for your reference, and after that, or I can just do what I will take this rectangle over here. So what I have done is that I selected this whole everything that I want to copy. I press the control button on the keyboard and I just dragged it from top to bottom or wherever I want it to be. Okay, so that was something which I did. After that, what I can do is that I can just click this edge. I can click this edge and I can make it collinear. So this constraint section will be in the next part, so don't worry about that. Okay, just bear with me as I make this sketch like fully defined. I will make some rapid dimensions. I will make this to be like, let us say this also is 50 and I want this also to be 50. Okay, so now everything is done, sketch is fully defined, and I'll show you how to do pattern curves and with all the three options. So first is selecting connected curves, as I've already told you, selecting any linear object. After that, the first option is count and pitch. So pitch is something that is that is the distance between two corresponding points between consecutive curves. So I will give it to be like 100 and count to be, let us say, 3, and you will see that three curves in total have been created, including the original curve, and the pitch distance is 100. That is the distance between this edge and this edge is 100. Understand that? Corresponding curves, the distance between corresponding curves of the consecutive curves. Okay, so corresponding and consecutive gives you the distance of pitch. Another option that we can do is that I will select the linear object again x-axis. I will select it to be count and span. So count and span allows you to give the total distance between the between the corresponding curve between of the first and the last entity. So if it is 200, that means the distance between this point and this point is 200, or distance between this point and this point is 200. So that is span, and count is something like total count including the original. So if I have made it 200, if I make it 150, you will see that the span changes somewhat like this. Another thing that is available in selecting of making of pattern is that the pitch and span. So pitch and span allows you to make entities patterned within a particular span distance and between a pitch with a pitch distance. So pitch distance is currently 75 and span is 150. I will make it 200 and the pitch to be 100, and you will see the result is somewhat same as the first one. If I click on count and pitch, it will automatically translate the count and pitch to be exactly the same as the first pattern. So the NX automatically calculates the parameters depending upon what the values have been entered just before that. Okay, so 103. So if I want the span not to be 200, I want it to be 220. You will see that result does not change. If I also make it, if I make it 250, you will see that the result does not change. However, if I make it 300, you will see that the result changes. So span distance and the total length between the corresponding curves of the first and last entity can either be equal, or the distance between the first and last entity's corresponding curve can be less than the total span, but it cannot be greater than the span. Understand that it can either be less than or equal to the span distance, but cannot be greater than the span distance. So that is the use of making linear pattern with the help of either count and pitch, count and span, and pitch and span. Another thing that is available is that you can make use of direction too. For example, I want to make this pattern in the x and the y axis. So what I will do is that first I will select the x axis. I do not want it to be in the positive direction. I want it to be in other direction. So you see that the pattern has been created in the minus x axis. After that, I also want to create pattern in the y axis in the same command. So I will select the y axis, and you will see that pattern preview has taken effect in the y axis. So I want it to be same like 300 and the number of to be 4, and you will see count and pitch, and you will see that the okay, pitch distance, no, it will be 100. So the result has been achieved in the x and the y axis, and I will click on apply, or I can directly click on okay. If I will click on apply, the command toolbar will remain, and it will allow me to make other patterns in without opening the pattern toolbar again and again. If I will click on OK, the pattern will be fixed and the toolbar will be closed, and I have to click on pattern toolbar or pattern button again in order to create another new pattern. So you see that the sketch has showed you how to use the three options and how to create pattern in the x and the y axis. Now let us come to patterning in the circular pattern. So what I will do is that I will create a circle. Okay, I will give it something like dimension. So what is this? It is 123. Let us keep it 120. After that, I will give the dimension between the center and the x-axis, and that will be something like, let us say, 200. Okay, so now the sketch has been okay. One more thing remain, and that will be this, and that is 700. Okay, let us make it 800. Okay, so now the sketch is fully defined and we will click on pattern curve. We will select the entities that are to be patterned. So I've selected the circle. I will select the circular pattern feature, and now the things which are to be mentioned come. So rotation point. So again, just like in the linear pattern, we cannot select the same edge to be that is already being patterned as the as the edge of reference or the axis of reference. Similarly, the point of rotation cannot be selected as the same point that is to be patterned. So this is the arc center. Okay, so this is the arc center and this is the arc that is created or the circle that is created. So this point cannot be selected. However, we can select a point that is apart from that curve. We can select this, we can select something like that or something. Also, we can specify a point also. We can specify that how that we see that first of all we will make the cursor location, and after that I will select it somewhat over here, and you will see that an approximate I have got something approximate which is I required. So I will make this 0 and it is now on the x-axis. After that I will make it 800 and it will be directly underneath the circle, and I will click on OK, and you see that we have created a point while being in the pattern toolbar, and also we are starting to get the preview of the pattern. So here also three options are available: count and pitch, count and span, and pitch and span. So for example, I want to have an angle of, let us say, 30 degrees, or let us say we want 45 degrees. Okay, and I want the count to be only 2. So only 2 entities will remain, including the original. That is, only one copy will be made, just similar to that of the linear pattern. Okay, if I want it to be 3, I can just click on 3. Also, I can change it like this. I can change the pitch angle using the cursor. I want it to be 30 again, I will click on 30 again. I want it to be 45 again, I will click on 45. So this is the use of count and pitch. Okay, I will click on apply. Now we will come to the next option, that is count and span. So point of rotation, we will select. Okay, so now this is pattern circular. Okay, now coming to the circular pattern of count and span. So first of all, we will select this circle, we will select the point of rotation, and after that we will select the count and span. So if I want the span to be 45 degrees or 90 degrees, so what I will do, I will select, let us say I want it to be 90 degrees. So this is 90 degrees, and I want to reverse the directions because I don't want to mess with this, or I do not want it to be intersected with this, and I will make it 3. So you can see that 3 copies in total are there, including the original, in the span of 90 degrees. And if I want to check that if my count and span and count and pitch, what are the values which if translated, then you will see that the value is the same as the count and pitch for the first pattern. Understand that? Okay, now coming to the pattern of this. After that, what we'll do is that we will select this point, and after selecting this point, okay, I've selected a point somewhat different from what I wanted. So I will select this point. Okay, so be cautious while selecting the points because it might lead to error while designing complex things. So I selected the wrong point. Because of that, the pattern might have had an offset in future. So okay, so now count and pitch, count and span has been like studied. After that comes the pitch and span. So pitch and span, for example, I want the pitch to be 45 degrees and the span to be 90. No, I want it to be 180 degrees, for example. So you will see that this has somewhat like this. This circle has been patterned for the span of 180 degrees with a pitch angle of 45 degrees. And now I will click on apply and you will see that pattern has been created. Now the sketch is partially defined. So what we will do is that we will just do rapid dimensioning. We will take this and we will take this and we will just mention the dimension, and after that we pattern this and we pattern this and we'll make it somewhat like this. After that we'll make it like this also, and this will define our sketch. So just any two consecutive patterns which have been made, they need to be defined, and the rest gets defined automatically by the Siemens NX. So with this we come to an end of our linear and circular pattern that is done Siemens NX, and in the next lecture we will be starting the topic of geometric constraint, and after that we will be starting the topic of dimensional constraint. So till now, if you have had any problem while understanding any of the dimensional constraint or geometrical constraint, do not worry about that. Things are being taken in a very progressive and in a very structured manner. So I hope that things are clear to you, and if there are some concepts that are not clear and has been used in previous lectures, don't worry about that, they will be discussed accordingly. If you want to know the syllabus that is being followed, you can check our part 1 and part 2 of this playlist, and you will get all the topics which will be discussed in our from part 1 to part 37 of this learning Siemens NX series. So till the next time we meet, keep practicing and keep learning. And if you like our series, share our videos and subscribe to our channel. And you may also like our videos if you want to express your support. So till the next time we meet, goodbye.